Welcome, guys. Welcome to episode 8 of the Mindful Mashup. I'm back. We took a couple weeks off there. I was out in Miami doing at the Wonderland convention. It was amazing. Such a cool industry we're in, and to see what all the beautiful entrepreneurs and people are up to. Today, I'm with my good friend Derek Veregen. He's got his own mushroom company called Fresh Picked Mushrooms. They've also started something in the local Kelowna community here, Breath Brotherhood. And they're doing tons of cool stuff. And we're going to chat his story, mushrooms, and I'm sure we'll get into a whole bunch more. So we'll bring him on here. Derek, welcome, brother.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. What did you think of the intro there?
Oh, it was great, man.
yeah.
I want to hear some more about your little trip down there.
Yeah, man. We were like, I swung by the facility yesterday, and we were chatting, and man, it was cool to see. The industry's in a really cool place right now. You know, like to see all the, like we mentioned yesterday, to see the entrepreneurs, the spiritual, and I guess more natural folks together with the scientists and the money men, and the kind of synchronicity that was going on there was pretty interesting and entertaining. And then so much good conversation around what's happening in the field right now, and where all the different studies and how people are approaching the different healing modalities and everything else. So it was, I learned a ton. The synthetic versus natural we were talking about yesterday was an interesting debate.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was great. And Miami's such a cool place. It's like really coming up in as far as like these newer kind of cities with the younger, I don't know, this newer outlook. You know what I mean? Like it was like, yeah. Like the companies that were popping up, and just their outlook, like everyone was very like Bitcoin forward and shit like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool. It's cool.
They're holding the future, the vision of the future.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And it was so many people around. Like when we were going for coffee and stuff, I was having so many conversations. Like, oh, what's going on? You're here for the mushroom thing. And we're like, yeah, we got a mushroom company in Canada. And they're like, oh, I've tried microdosing, and it's helped me so much. And that was the huge thing. It's like how many people it's changed my life. And like, yeah. So these are all just, you know, normal people working at juice shops, cafes, restaurants, whatever. And everyone was so curious. That was a huge part of it. Just like how the whole mushroom space is just exploding.
Yeah. What I've really noticed this year, like being at the markets and stuff, just even old people, like they've seen on Netflix, you know, Fantastic Fungi, and they're very interested. They want to know, because there's so much research going into it and the money going into it now, and they like Eastern medicine's known about mushrooms, and they've done research and, you know, used it as medicine for many years, thousands of years, and now the Western culture is just starting to realize the benefits. I'm not saying all Western culture, like obviously the natives and stuff have used plants and mushrooms for a very long time, but mainstream culture they're all very interested now. And I'm even seeing little kids come up, and they like are more interested in mushrooms than their parents and shit. It's like amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
There's a new wave coming through, man. It's
Yeah, totally right. Do you notice at the markets, how do a lot of people approach you? Because I notice when people think mushrooms, like, you know, I'm a huge functional guy. Like that's how I came into mushrooms years ago. And like then the microdosing it's been more on the new front. And like, but when a lot of people come talk to me about mushrooms or talk to me about a blend, they're like, oh, is this psychedelic? Like the first thing they talk about is psychedelics, because it's like everywhere in the news and stuff. When people come to you at the market, is that something that they're asking about a lot, or are they looking for lion's mane, looking for
quite a few people are always making jokes. They're like, you're the fun guy, you know? And then talking about, are these psychedelic ones, you know, like this is funny. Old people always like making jokes, especially.
And
some people know what they're looking for, and others are a little bit scared, and they're like they think those are psychedelic mushrooms on the countertop, and they're like a
Yeah.
little iffy, like, oh, I can't have those. So it's good to be out there and just like educating people,
Yeah.
because that's the thing is people are uneducated, and again, like the government, the war on drugs, and people just think of mushrooms and they like think they're all bad because the
Yeah.
government has kind of portrayed that. So yeah, there's definitely a mix of people, but I would say there's more of an interest than not in
Yeah.
the mushroom field, and yeah, it's super exciting because this is
Yeah.
like where we need to be exactly right now.
Totally. Totally. And the space it plays in the shift that's happening, right? Like, I
Oh
notice a
yeah,
lot where one person's like, at first they'd still just be iffy, but they have one close friend who's like, it's helped me in this way, it's helped me in this way. And even if it's something like Rishi or Shiitake, or if it's psychedelic, they're like, then that something switches and they're like, oh, it worked for Heather, so I'm going to try it too. You know what I mean? And like, do you get a lot of people like that? Like, they were telling me about whatever. And
yeah. It's one of Joe Dispenza's lines. He says, "People, people won't believe until they see it." Like as soon as the person did the 4 minute mile, everybody did it. They thought it was impossible before they did it. So it's once people start seeing their friends healing and getting the amazing benefits from mushrooms, whether it's lion's mane, reishi, psychedelic, and they see the energy change, they see the whole change within their friend, then that's when their interest spikes because they've seen it, they witnessed it. It's not just somebody talking, telling them some story,
yeah, 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 yeah. And that's what I love about your tag there on Instagram, the spiritual beefcake, and how that's kind of transpired to now be like this bodybuilder gone spiritual, gone mushroom grower, and just at the markets with the it's an older crowd there, and it's just like it's such a
Yeah,
cool dynamic, man. I like at the times I've come down there, it's cool to see.
yeah. It's funny. My friend was just chatting with me, and that's how I came up with the name spiritual beefcake. I was my friend was just saying, like, there's not many people like you. Like, people would obviously like see me and be like, oh, this bodybuilder. I mean, I've changed obviously over the past couple of years, my own self, but the competitor version of myself that I was, people would judge me and see me as a stereotypical bodybuilder, But it's once I speak, they see who I really am,
Yeah,
and that's where the name kind of came from. Is like the spiritual beefcake, like
yeah.
he's a spiritual bodybuilder guy.
I love that, man. And that's something I only know guys from like training, and I've been always more in an endurance perspective, but I still a lot of friends who bodybuild and stuff like that, and all just really great people.
Yeah,
And it's amazing how much of that stereotype can get out there with as far. So then you could see how someone coming from that would feel very conflicted, and just in the way it's come with, like, everyone's got the bulldog and these things, and like, but that's not who these
yeah,
people are for them. And not that that's a bad thing anyways, like, it's just like, so
yeah,
there's
yeah,
that's it's fun, interesting how in society we make these paradigms around people, and then it's our job to just kind of to be like, okay, that's cool if you want to, but like, and break through that and show and just be in presence who we really are, and then how attractive that is to everyone else.
yeah. I mean, I did create an avatar of myself for sure with who I thought I was. Getting into that fitness industry, and I went into a massive shift because I created this avatar that was not actually feeding my soul, and I came to a point where I wasn't. I knew I was here for different things, and I wasn't enjoying the life that I was living because, again, as once you create this image, you got to hold this image,
Yeah,
and that wasn't my true self, who I was being in the
yeah,
fitness industry. Who I'm being now is my true self, and my speaking my truth now feels so powerful. And before, it was like I had a clothing line, fitness apparel, and I had sponsors, and like my own posts were me posting how I thought people wanted to perceive me, how I needed to be perceived by others.
yeah,
Now, this transformational shift that I've gone through with the plant medicine, ayahuasca, and just my own journey, now I post me, I post my
yeah,
truth, and that's
yeah,
what matters, and it's powerful.
yeah. And it's funny that difference, hey, in being when it's what you think you create this image that you think people want to be seen, but it's because it's so surface level. You don't. It's completely different from when you're just being who you are, and we are all these beautiful people and have so much to give. And
Yeah.
when we see that, and then we show up as that person, it's really something that it creates that coherence and that frequency that is people grow from, and everyone feels comfortable, and you get to, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
That being said,
And
man,
you attract.
Oh, sorry, go.
I was just gonna add, yeah, like when you speak your truth, that's when you attract the people that are actually meant to be in your life. Because if you have an image out there, then you start to attract people that see that image and they align with that image. And if it's a fake image, then you're attracting fake people.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's why I encourage everybody to start speaking their truth and just being their highest self, because that's what we need right now as we go through the shift.
Yeah, I love that. And these are all our gifts too, right? Like as we find and we break down and we break through, and then we see like these are like, you need to go through that to get to here, and I learned this to become this, and it's just like it becomes this whole beautiful road with all the ups and downs and yings and yangs of the whole go.
100%.
Do you want to dive into that? Take us through like how you went from the professional bodybuilder to the spiritual awakening to then finding mushrooms and starting Fresh Pick, and take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I guess 2015, maybe I should go back a little further. I guess bodybuilding, kind of when I was 17 and a half, I kind of made the decision like I wanted to get bigger and eat better. So I kind of like just started researching, and I kind of found some guidance for how to eat. And then I was like, got my dad to buy chicken and rice and broccoli, and I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to grow, and it's kind of a good thing because I wanted to grow. It kept me away from like partying too much. Like I'd go to like the odd party in high school, obviously like the bigger ones, like the grad ones and stuff like that. But I'd go hang out with my friends and drink water, because I knew what I wanted and I was sticking by that. So I'm very thankful for the path that I chose, going down the fitness route, because it did kept me like more pure, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
I did have my party times, but it kept me more in line with the better choices for myself. That way. And then when I was 19, I did a. Oh, did you want to add something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's huge too, dude. Because I played hockey, and I fell more into chose the party route just because it was something I hadn't explored after always being hockey every weekend, hockey all the time, and then I was just like, I want to try this, and it's fun with your friends and your teenager going through all the hormonal changes and everything else, and you're just like, but it's a darker path to start off on, but and it's not easy to stay true to that. So that's something pretty amicable.
Yeah, it's definitely the hockey boys definitely party, so they encourage each other to do things. So it's
that's true.
Yeah, that's a different path for sure.
Yeah.
all the hockey boys. I played some hockey too, so I know all about that. But
so you know that too. But but sticking to it, right? And that's what's so, and the guys that stay true to it too, and they're like training all the time no matter what, and still partying, and like I don't know how they did it, but
wow.
So then
I could never do that shit.
Now too, it's just like 2 beers and I'm like feeling it the next day, so I'm like just doesn't fit in.
Now it's like there's no choice but to stay aligned with what you need to be doing,
So you went from exactly, and tuning into that, right? And like how this all kind of, how it grows, and finding that early and taking that fitness path, you're pretty tuned into your body right away.
For sure. Every year, like again, we're always growing. We're always our awareness is always increasing. But as I went through the stages, like how I got into actually competing, my sister's friend was in Calgary, and I got into like I was gonna do a photo shoot. So I went and did a photo shoot, and then she's like, "Oh, you should do this competition. It's like in a month." So I connected with this one trainer out there. He gave me this like diet plan, which looking back with the knowledge I have now is terrible. Like he had me eating no salt at all. I was on a no salt diet. When you're training
Dude,
against
that's
Wow.
electrolytes, like
beast.
again, I was 19. I just trusted this 30, 40-year-old to give me the wisdom that I needed. But
Yeah.
yeah, terrible
And that's
diet.
what they knew
But
back then, though, right? Like that whole like Arnold
Dude, that's
approach. Like it was just
beast.
like carbs and beef,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So yeah, I dieted for a month. There was like 25 guys. It was just like fitness model competition, WBFF.
Dude,
And
that's
yeah, there's like 25
beast.
guys in it. I came fifth place, so I was like pretty excited about that because I didn't really prep much for it, and that kind of started my competition journey. I did several shows after that, and yeah, I became like a personal trainer, and eventually I wanted to just kind of do my own thing and create a business of clothing. So I got into the clothing thing as well as competing because it kind of went hand in hand. But yeah, I like it was hard for me to find clothes that fit. I wanted like a tight fit and that stretchy, nice material, and so that was kind of my drive to start the clothing line. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
as you grow in the industry, what's that? Sorry.
no, keep going, man. I was just gonna say there's a huge need
Okay.
back then. It was hard to find good
It
shirts.
was, yeah, like Lulu. That Lulu was the shirts I would always buy, and they were
Yeah.
like $55 shirts, and I was like, can't you make
Yeah.
something similar, but a little bit cheaper
Yeah.
for people? And that's kind of what I went by for material wise and stuff like that. Is that nice stretchy feeling?
How did that go? Like setting off to do an entrepreneurial business, like starting a business right at a young age like that, and then taking on something like the clothing industry is a tough industry to crack into.
Yeah. So that was 2015 when me and my business partner Tim at the time started that. It was we were excited. We were gonna do supplements first, like pre-workout BCAAs. We ordered like a decent amount from this company in the States and got our own products made.
Oh, nice.
And as we did that, we're like, oh, we should do the clothing as well. And we realized doing the supplement part was like going to be very, very expensive. Like
Yeah.
when you're dealing with supplements and shipping, and like I started to realize what companies actually make, and they make money off certain products. But like protein powder, say for instance, it's a product that companies just have, and they like with shipping costs and the weight of it, like they don't really make anything off of it. They just kind of have it as a
Oh,
product.
gotcha. Oh,
Unless
that's
you're buying like unless they're buying like massive amounts with millions of dollars, then yeah, I'm sure you can have some profit margins. But for smaller companies, like your margins don't even make sense to have that product. So we kind of realized which way we were going to go with that direction after we already made our initial investment. We sold what we had for the supplements and kind of took just the clothing route. Um, but yeah, even that, like again, I learning all these things. It's never ending. We weren't making much money ourselves. We were just investing as we went into the company because you launch products and then you need to buy new ones and launch some more ones, and then it's all your money's going into inventory with that stuff. It's
yeah.
so I've gone down. I'm thankful for all the experience because now I can bring it into my own business now, and the knowledge I have, the marketing skills I have, like taking photos, editing photos, all these kind of things that I've learned with my previous business um, are skills that I appreciate and have now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely learned a lot, and it was again though going back to the image you create as this competitor and this fitness persona and the clothing, like having my own clothing line and being a face of it. Now I almost like don't like being the face of my business. I want to just create a product for people that is good and people like, and I don't want to be the face anymore. Because when I created that face that I had to be for my own clothing line, again it was like, how do I need to perceive myself for these people in order to sell this product? That's kind of the mentality that I created myself, and that pushed me down the path of not being happy with the path I was on.
Yeah.
And yeah, when so 2015 is when I started it. we had a few good years. It grew. We did a bunch of expos and stuff like that. Like the business was growing, but again, like we just kept investing it into the business instead of paying ourselves. So it was definitely tough,
Yeah. And
tough
that's a grind.
financially because we're not paying ourselves. We're just growing the business, growing the business, growing the business. So yeah, we decided to kind of split off that, and yeah, I knew I was on the wrong path, and I was really pushed. Like I had this deep, deep calling to go to ayahuasca. I first discovered ayahuasca when I was about 22. I um, I read my first book when I was 22, The Secret, which taught me about like energies and law
Oh,
of
nice.
attraction,
Yeah.
things like that. So I was just like searching YouTube, and somehow ayahuasca came into the picture, and I watched like all these videos, people like puking, and like I just kept researching, and I was like, wow, this stuff's like transformational. Like
Yeah.
as you know,
So
you've done your research on it as well, and you've
yeah, we've had
sorry,
it's
what's
been
that?
funny because it's been funny on this show that we've gone through. Like Jay was on talking about combo. Our
Mm.
other friend Krista was on talking about Iboga, and we've been diving
Yeah,
into the psychedelics. So we've been definitely introducing the Goo Crew to all this Amazonian beautifulness.
yeah.
Um, so it's
Oh, it's
come up a
amazing.
few times. Yeah, yeah. Did you? So what? When you thought about ayahuasca, was this when you were having this doubt in self and you were realizing you didn't want to be like? Did you have a bit of like a draw that you're like, there's got to be more here, and that's what kind of drew you down to the
So,
secret and like,
so yeah, I was again. I'm always someone that's wanting to learn and expand my mind for my whole life. I've always been interested in more and finding out more and why we're here. Um, and yeah, back when I was 22 and I first discovered it, it wasn't so much about like I needed change in my own life, or just I thought it was cool. I was like very interested in knowing that there's more. When I was 18, my dad passed away, and learning about energies and how we're a soul inside this vessel, it helped me kind of deal with his passing.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I was more just like thinking that there was more and wanting to learn more at that time. Um, but then, yeah, as I went on the wrong path for myself, and created this avatar that no longer was serving me, that's when it came to a point where like, because yeah, I was 22 when I first heard about ayahuasca, and then it would have been I was 29 when I went and did ayahuasca. So
oh wow,
7 years later. So yeah,
wow,
it was
that's interesting.
yeah, I
So
was trying to,
it was already in your scope for a long time.
yeah, but it was never just the right time. Like it was
Yeah,
never the priority. It was there in my subconscious mind, knowing like one day I'm gonna do this,
yeah,
and then yeah, I was again you created this avatar that I didn't like, and I knew like I don't know, I was called, and nothing else mattered in my life. I had to go, and some friends of mine did ayahuasca in Peru, so I messaged him on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, where'd you go to your ayahuasca?" And he sent me Peru shamans. So I like Googled Peru
okay.
shamans. PeruShamans.com pops up, and so I click on it, and I screenshotted it and I sent it to him. I was like, "Is this the place?" He didn't respond till the next day, but this is how my calling was, bro. I was like, "I'm going." So I actually just booked it. So I booked the
Wow.
PeruShamans.com, and then the next day he messaged me and is like, "No, this is the one." And sent me the link for the one that he went to. But everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences, and I'm still thankful I went to the place that I went to because initially there was me and two other guys, so it was a very small retreat. And the
Cool.
retreat that he went to, there was like 15 to 20 people in the circle. Um, so yeah, I actually did two ceremonies what I initially signed up for, which was again the first one was you can't even put it into words because it's you have to experience it to visualize what I would even say. Um, Most people
Yeah.
obviously haven't done the experience you have, so you can probably understand it. But yeah, I saw my body pixelated, on this like I was consciousness above, I was awareness, I was energy, viewing my own body pixelated. There was this like machine scanning my body. I don't know if it was upgrading my DNA. I don't know what it was doing, but it was this like machine going over my body. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
And then that was like the first initial part of it. And then yeah, next it moves
Cool.
to I can see every memory of my life in pixels as well, just going as like a screen, like just going by. And I felt like
Oh,
if I wanted
wow.
to, I feel like ayahuasca was just kind of introducing me to her, and like letting me see the scope of what it actually is. And so I felt like I could go into any dream or any past memory that I wanted to and relive it. I also
Cool.
felt like where I was, I could tap in and like download a language or anything. Like I felt like any information, all the information was there. If I wanted something, I could like tap in and just download it. That's how I felt where I was.
Oh, amazing. So you're like
It
directly
was
connected.
directly connected, man. Yeah, it was total outer body experience. I was connected with a whole another dimension, whole different frequency. And then, so when you do ayahuasca, they tell you don't speak out loud in your body. Like you speak telepathically. It's a psychological thing that you're going through, right? So the guy next to me kept laughing and like making noises out loud. So it actually brought me back to my body. And then
Mm.
I remember looking over at him, and I saw this like dark shadow above him. So obviously he has like a shadow following him around. Um,
Ah.
and the three of us. There was another guy on the other side of him, and he got so pissed off because he's like, "I paid for this experience, and this guy's ruining it." Like he was so angry, bro, like so angry, and he like stormed out of the room actually because he's
Oh,
like,
no way.
like he was having an experience like I was, I think, like outer body, and then he got brought back as well, and it like ruined it for him. I honestly felt like I was brought back to hold space for the other guy, and I was like, "This is okay," you know. And I was
Yeah.
just there. I could see like the auras around the shaman, the nurse, and the translator. They
Oh,
all had
wow.
green auras, and green is like a healing aura. So
Yeah.
once I saw that, I knew I was in a safe place. Like I was meant to be there, and they're all really good people.
Yeah. Sounds like you
And
really
yeah,
connected to that
I could see
same
like
similar frequency.
yeah, no, it was super cool, and I could see like it was almost like we're in a simulation. It's like holographic, like everything's connected. Um, hard to explain, but yeah, it's like
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
everything is connected. I saw that everything is connected, you know,
Yeah.
and
And this is, sorry, go ahead.
what's that? Yeah, so
I was gonna,
that was pretty much what's that?
I was just gonna say, and this was the first sitting. Did you sit more than one?
This is the first sitting.
Okay.
I did 3.
Yeah, cool.
So I initially booked 2. So this was the first one, and that was pretty much it for the first one. I remember going back to my bed and I had this like massive headache. I think from the tobacco. So
Mm.
yeah, because they use tobacco to kind of protect you from any entities, evil entities, and kind of connect you with that spiritual world as well. It's like that bridge to bring you in. The tobacco is so it's a protector, but yeah, I don't know. My body doesn't like tobacco, and I remember going to bed and like just having this massive headache, and I was like, ah. So yeah, the next day was the next ceremony, back to back, and I took the same dose, which was like a 2-ounce shot. Um, and yeah, I honestly just purged for like 2 hours straight. I had zero
Oh,
vision, so
wow.
I was like just drinking water, throwing up, drinking water, throwing up. But that's obviously it had to happen, you know. It
Yeah.
was the blocked energy that I was releasing and getting rid of and purging out. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was
And it's interesting you got that download and
good, but it wasn't.
like that cellular download, and and then have such a purging experience the next night.
Yeah.
Almost releasing that
So I
cellular,
purged a little.
that deep cellular stuff.
Yeah. And that's what it does, you know. It brings up things that you no longer need, and that your body needs to get rid of. So yeah, that was I puked a little bit the first time as well, but not too much, like just a little bit at the beginning, and then I was like out. But yeah, the second time I had zero visions at all. Um, so that was initially what I booked though, just two, and I was like, shit, this is like, I didn't get what I needed. Like it was a cool
Right.
experience, but I didn't get what I needed. So I went and did some traveling. I went to Machu Picchu, and then I messaged the guy at the retreat, and I was like, I need to come back. Can you fit me in? And he's like, okay. So they scheduled me in for earlier day because there was already a new group of people at the retreat. So
Right.
they were going to do their whole group together, and the shaman was going to do a private ceremony for me. So it was me, the shaman, and the nurse only for the third
Oh,
ceremony.
wow.
So leading into this, I was like, I'm fucking going. So I took the 2 ounce shot and then another 1/3 of a shot to make sure that I was going to cross and go through this time. And yeah, I remember after I drank that, I just sat there for about 15-20 minutes ish. And then I was getting in my own head. I was like, oh, I'm going to throw up again. And like, I was like, oh, I think I need to go to the washroom. So I was like, I got the nurses. It's like, and it started to kick in already. So I can kind of like, you're almost like, you shouldn't be walking around. You kind of get like this, you're not drunk, but you're like ready to take off,
Yeah.
So I got the nurse to bring me to the washroom. I sat on the toilet and I was like, I don't need to go to the washroom. I was just in my head thinking I had to go to the washroom. So I go back to the ceremony room. I lay down, and man, right away the shaman singing the song just blasted me off, man, to this gray space. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
It was just gray. I was just energy. I was
Wow.
consciousness. I was nothing, man. It erased everything I knew. It erased my girlfriend at the time, my family. I couldn't think of anything. I just knew
Wow.
who I was at the time, but I couldn't think of anybody or anything in my past life that I created. So it was
Right.
major ego death, but I was fighting
Yeah.
that very, very, very hard because in my own mind I was like, I don't want to go back to my body and be like reborn and not know anything. And I was like tripping out, like imagine me in this body, but not knowing anything that I learned, not knowing
Yeah.
anything about my family or my girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
like
So that
like
fear
brain
came up.
damage,
Yeah.
that fear came up, man. And again, that's the ego trying to control, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So I was trying to control the situation and say, no, this is not how it can be.
Yeah.
So I honestly, like, this whole experience, man, it was me fighting that. Like my
Wow.
ego fighting that for like 4 hours, like 4 hours straight. And eventually I hit a point where I was like, where I am, there's no pain. There's nothing wrong here.
Yeah.
Like if this is where I'm at forever now, like it's okay. Like
Yeah.
it's okay because there's nothing wrong. There's no problems
Wow.
here. I just was. If I could explain it, I was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I as soon as that moment happened and I surrendered and was okay with where I was, it's like everything flooded right back in.
Wow.
And it just
That power of surrender,
it's
huh?
like downloads of information. Yeah, man, surrender. And that's like, that was the greatest teacher from that whole experience. It's just that surrender and that trust that everything's going to be
Yeah.
okay. Everything's going to unfold. It's like driving in the dark. You just trust that the road's going to keep unfolding in front of you.
Yeah.
Or that's how you can be with life as well. When you're doing the right thing that's true to yourself, you just trust and magical things happen. Like
Totally.
even how we met, like these things just
Yeah.
happen. And when you're on a certain frequency, like life unfolds for you, and
Yeah.
you don't need to work as hard.
Yeah.
You're not working with material. You're not trying to push and deal with the material 3D world anymore. You're creating in your own mind.
Yeah. You're creating your own reality, right?
And
Like, and
100%.
yeah. And we get so caught up in these lower frequencies and thinking about the future, worrying about the future, we forget to be present and trust what's coming. And that's where all these anxieties and stuff are coming from, are these stories we're writing in our minds that aren't even happening or haven't happened yet, and then they end up happening.
100%. And the frequency of anxiety attracts more bad things on that frequency to happen to you. So
Yeah.
it's literally a vicious cycle. It's a trap because people, one thing happens to people and they stay on that frequency and they attract more and more and more. And, you know, it's very hard to get out of it. You got to literally reprogram your mind and think a totally different way in order to get out
Yeah.
of that. But it is possible. And I think as more of us heal ourselves and we share our journey, you know, that's that 4 minute mile, you know, we're sharing our journey and people see that it can be done, you know,
Yeah.
and that's how it's a ripple effect across the globe. And humanity's changing, humanity's healing, humanity's waking up. And it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it is. It really is, man. And you know, that trust and surrender has been, but it's been such a huge piece for me in the last year. I feel like, yeah, just really trusting. You know, you're not, because like as you go through these things, and that it's easy to say, it's not easy to necessarily do. And as you're going up
Yep.
and letting go and everything else, and where these medicines can be so powerful and is in that process and showing us and how she shows us, you know, that's such a beautiful story of how, and she really takes you through it and you feel those emotions, you feel all those, that ego, that physical, that those very left brain kind of things, and you feel it, you really have to feel them all to
Yeah.
really to get, and sounds like for you had to get to like a breaking point where you're like, and but it was that realization and that breakthrough of it's all going to be all right. So I got to let go. And then as you let go,
Yeah.
you come back. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like, I mean, I think it's by design, you know, society, they've created it. So now even the man and the woman in the relationship, they're working, their kids are watched by somebody else. There's always stresses, you know, and it's taught people to react versus to feel because nobody has time anymore. They're on their phone. As soon as they wake up, they're in their car in traffic. They don't sit and feel. Nobody feels
Yeah,
anything, and this is why we're seeing addiction and depression, anxiety, and then people turn to medication, which just shuts them down and blocks them and all is possible. You know, and that's why the path that we're both
totally.
on is important because it's time for people to come back to themselves. You know,
Totally.
nothing,
Yeah,
nothing heals except for the individual. But these things are just tools, you know, to bring you back to yourself, so you can feel things and
100%.
move through them.
Yeah. Yeah, man,
Yes.
exactly. And that's something that I love about mushrooms so much is that it helps us in the nutrient perspective to feel and flow better, but it really presents us with the, like you say, the tools to heal our own stuff so we can move forward. And it holds that responsibility to each
Yeah.
and every one of us, but also empowers each and every one of us when we take that step for ourselves. And to me, that's the
one Hundred
ultimate,
percent.
and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful, but we got to make sure. Again, people just need to be educated properly because you know you see the kid scene and the party scene with you know doing mushrooms in the wrong way, and that's why it gets a bad rep. People need to understand that like this is for your own subconscious healing. You shouldn't be drinking alcohol and doing the mushrooms. You know, like it's a plant medicine for a reason. We don't just go take penicillin or any other drug and go party. You know, it's a medicine for healing. And when you do healing, you should be sitting quiet, healing, meditating, relaxing, and getting into your own subconscious mind. You know, or with the microdose, obviously it's different. You're not going that deep, but you shouldn't be doing these bad things that are negative to your soul and trying to, you know, like
I
people
think
got
it's
to
just
make a
that
choice that they want
awareness,
better for
right?
themselves. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and like not
Awareness
pointing.
and just
Yeah, and not
what's that?
pointing the finger on, not pointing. You know, I think we're so quick to be like, oh, this, and where mushrooms have got a bad rap is we're so like, oh, the mushrooms did this to me. When it's like, well, that's actually your own shit. So, and like, it's, I really believe it's all happening for us. So there are really no bad instances, and it's
100%.
just showing that these. So if you had this bad trip, it's really like, hey, you might your subconscious is maybe telling you something there. You know, it's not like the mushrooms did this
100%.
to me. The mushrooms didn't do anything. They just presented you with your own inner stuff, right? So it's like bad or good. And I think,
100%.
yeah, I think I agree. Like in the healing sense, like this should be the it really needs to be approached properly. But then there's this beautiful thing with some of these plant medicines in the connection that form with people and doing them with friends and family, and how that can really present these beautiful things. So it's hard for me to put
Yeah.
a bad or good around it. I truly believe it all happens for a reason, but you're right. It's that awareness and that
Yeah.
responsibility around what you're taking. And again, I think that loops back to each and every one of us being responsible for what we're putting in our body, and not quit pointing the finger of,
100%.
hey, this is doing this to me, but you chose to put that in your mouth. You chose to take that.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
really feeling into that.
That's why I think what you're doing with these podcasts and stuff is great, because just people need to share more information about it. And, the microdosing is good because, again, it's creating those new brain connections, and those brain connections are increasing your own awareness, and that own awareness is going to help you eat better and make the right decisions for yourself. So I would say the microdosing is good because it's creating it's going to create better patterns for yourself, and therefore lead to a proper decision making when it comes to a bigger dose.
Yeah. Really good point.
Because
and that's so cool.
Doing a bigger dose and partying. Exactly. You're kind of can prepare yourself to make better choices for yourself with the microdosing, I feel. And then, people that take 5 grams and go to the nightclub and drink and who knows what else they do, right? That's the wrong way. And obviously they need more awareness of their own self to make better decisions. So I think just the education behind what to do and what not to do, maybe.
100%, right? And I think that's what's so powerful.
What you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I think that's what's so good about, like a lot of people just don't know. And because of what we were talking about before with how it's been described to the public in the 70s and whatnot, and what everyone has as their view around it, it's really got this skewed view of what it is. But these, all these mushrooms, and they play these different roles in helping us find our own awareness, and that needs to be
100%.
Taken and responsibly. So going back to it, so then this then shifted you from, you're back from Peru, and then you've kind of come back with this whole new perspective on life.
Yeah, there's lots of integration to do for sure. I'm still integrating things now. So that's the thing with plant medicine as well. Like you don't just do it and life's changed. Like you come back with new wisdom, new knowledge, and you got to start making different choices for yourself. Otherwise, you go back to the old world and you go back to the old programming and you go back to the old person that was suffering or miserable or whatever. Like you can't just come back to the world and you're a new person. You got to use what you got from the plant medicine, and start creating the new version of yourself, your higher self, with that information.
That integration piece.
It's been a journey. 100%. And that's another thing too, is like people need some guidance. Like I didn't have much guidance from the retreat that I went to afterwards, but I had my own awareness and guidance of what I needed to do. Like I knew like there's choices I needed to make, and like I ate healthy, but as soon as I got home, everything switched. Organic only. My hair products, my soap, my deodorant, like some of my foods were organic at the time, but like everything, the meats, everything had to switch. Like, and it's just this knowing that I received from the medicine. It's these life choices that I had to make for my own self, for my own awareness to increase and my own evolution. I needed to rid myself of toxins and chemicals. And, that's just a knowing that I received from the medicine.
And you feel the difference, hey? Like you really, organic. Another one too. Like it got caught up in some marketing and stuff like that, and it was like organic, but it's really just how good you feel when you're eating real food, and like real food with nutrients that aren't full of all this other shit.
Yeah, there's different levels to it, like because there's organic, but then like where did that organic come from? How is it farmed? Like how is it grown? And getting food from the market where the growers and the product wasn't machine farmed, and like there's energy going into it from the humans that are creating it. And so there's different levels that I've been on my own path discovering. It's first it was just buying organic from the store. Second, now I'm like, where the food actually comes from really matters too. Not just organic, but organic from
Totally.
someone who loves what they're doing, producing the food, because that energy is going into the food. Obviously, the soil as
Yeah.
well. I've learned more about the soil, and that's another message that I actually got from the ayahuasca, and that's something I'm still integrating because it kind of makes sense with the mycelium and kind of the path I'm going on, but it said that I'm here to do something with the soil, and it
Ah.
didn't make any time. It made no sense at the time, but so there's yeah, there's more that I need to discover for myself still,
Yeah.
and get into and learn because obviously that's the number one thing, man. Like if we ruin the soil, we ruin the earth, and we can't
Yeah.
produce food. And what they're doing right now with pesticides, spraying it on all the food, it's literally destroying the soil. It's an antibiotic. It kills good and bad bacteria. Um, and it's like when you take too many antibiotics, they get resistant to the bugs and like the viruses, and that's what's happening to the crops as well. They're spraying it, thinking it's going to kill and keep these insects away and stuff. And these insects are adapting and they're getting stronger and stronger, and eventually you're not going to be able to fucking get rid of them either. So things very neat, like big change needs to happen on that front with the soil, and just how agriculture is done. And
Yeah.
yeah, so again, that's why going back to these smaller farmers, many of them are doing like no-till and they're keeping their soil strong, and that's the right way to be doing it. Not these factory farming and where they only grow one crop on hectares and hectares of land, and they just take from the soil, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, there's lots more I need to tap into myself and go down that journey because yeah, I think that's one of the most important things because we won't exist without it, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And the power of the soil, and just how much of these like those are essential nutrients for our body, like that come up through these, like why vegetables are so good. You get all those nutrients from the soil, and that's what brings
yeah,
out, and these are essential minerals for our body. Um and that's such a good point. I actually saw on your page there that one about the organic bread. um and I thought
yeah,
that was really good for informing people, because I think a lot of people don't, even just a simple TikTok like that, like a lot of people don't think about that, and like um of how it can be in these breads and stuff like that, and
yeah.
it's a huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
honestly,
it's
weed is one of the worst. Weed is one of the worst things because just before they're about to take the crop down, they literally spray it, which is there's actually
Yeah.
no need to do it, but they spray it with glyphosate, and so the levels are very very high in anything made with that, and many cereals use wheat. So like, oh, feed your kids heart healthy Cheerios. It's like here's glyphosate when you're 1 years old, and these
Yeah.
chemicals are just building up, building up. It's and that's why we have so much disease now and so much autoimmune. Like people have all these allergies. It's because we've destroyed the gut bacteria that protects us.
Yeah.
Just like our gut is the same as the soil. We have healthy bacteria in here, and we're destroying it with the pesticides. The exact same thing is happening to the soil, and we're destroying it with the pesticides. So we
Yeah.
are one. We are the same. Earth. We need to take care of ourselves and the earth together. You know,
Yeah.
we're the exact same thing.
Nice. Yeah, man, and that's true. And it's cool how that experience and that soil, and then now you're farming all these beautiful mushrooms, which isn't from the soil necessarily, but it's like um, pretty cool. And I really appreciated going through a walk through your guys' facility a couple times that I have, because yeah, it's really neat to watch you guys go through the process, and like we were talking, the ups and downs of all of it, and learning through the hurdles that are come up sometimes, but the beautiful mushrooms that are created, and then they have these all these health effects, and that's really cool that it's pointed you in that direction.
Yeah. So post ayahuasca, again, like just that more connection to nature and what's important and what we need. And I see a destruction of the pharmaceutical industry. I really do. And we're going to move to plants and natural healing, which we should have been doing in the first place. So yeah, I see a total collapse of that system, and this is the way we got to go. We got to educate people and bring it in. So my business partner Dylan was growing mushrooms, kind of in his basement and just like experimenting. And I was like, send me a kit, I'll experiment. I was living in Calgary at the time, and yeah, I grew my own as well there. And then he's like, you should come out here. We should start growing mushrooms together. And at this time, I was doing some online training, like online coaching and stuff, and I wasn't really set on where I needed to be. So I was like, like I truly see this as the future. So I'm like, yeah, I'll come out to Kelowna. This is my hometown, and it was like it's home to me. So
Yeah.
that was a very easy decision to make to come back here. And yeah, we've been on this journey, and we're growing like oyster mushrooms, lion's bean. We have some reishi coming now. I want to get into the turkey tail, those more medicinal ones, because yeah, man, like turkey tail is massive for fighting cancer, and like reishi reducing people's stress, and all just boosting the immune system. Lion's bean for people's cognitive function, memory, and stuff like that. All these things can majorly help people to make better decisions for themselves. And again, like that connection to nature and what we need. So yeah, that's kind of a driver. And I'm so happy I've been through the things that I've been through, because it led me to the path that I've gone down, and now I'm doing things that are aligned with myself. So it's good, man.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. And then you guys have, and is Dylan involved in this too? You guys started a breathwork every Sunday. Breathwork men, is it men's? It's breathwork men's kind of men's group every Sunday.
So yeah, basically I've wanted to do this for quite some time. But yeah, it's a men's group. We do breathwork, and then I do a sound bowl meditation, and then we do a men's circle at the end where we just share things. Like I've been through many things in my life, and that's one of the things. Even being in the fitness industry, like my voice wasn't I made videos, but my voice wasn't powerful because again, those videos I'm making was an avatar. I was creating what I thought people wanted to see. Now I can speak my truth. I can speak my own stories, and I speak very clearly because it's my truth. And it's not hard when you're speaking your fucking truth to speak clearly and speak loudly and strongly. So yeah, no, it's I'm very confident speaking, and I'm very comfortable speaking, and I want to allow my own journey to make others feel safe. So we've created this safe space for other men to open up, and what we've really noticed is people start sharing, and then people start seeing themselves in others because they've gone down and they've had the same issues, whether it comes to relationships, finances, just struggles in life, like most of us have faced the same shit. We've been through that once in our life, and
for sure.
You start to see that you're not alone. So that's what I wanted to create, because too many men are leaning to alcohol, drugs, committing suicide. It's they'd rather die than speak, and that's not the world that we need to live in. That's not where we need to go. We need to again, there's been this toxic masculinity. Masculinity is not toxic, but there's been a toxic masculinity where they taught men that you can't cry, you can't show your emotions. Showing your emotions is power. Vulnerability is power, and they've made it seem like just working hard and bringing money to the table and fucking being a man that they've created this image to be. That's what they created, and that's terrible. So it's time for us to step into who we are, and we've both gone on our own journeys, and we can share and hopefully make other men share and open up to the healthy masculinity that we need in this world.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much. I think creating that space for men is really powerful in the sense of just that. Even just going there and being there, being in that energy, being allowing, and like you say, it's so funny how shit we're going through, and it's really just what we're seeing is a reflection of ourselves. And then that when you come to that and you realize that, and then you get this growth from that, and sharing and being vulnerable and getting and having a safe space for that, and that's really cool, man. I appreciate what you guys are doing there. I'm gonna try and make it to one soon now. Things are calming down a bit, so I think maybe even this Sunday I'll try and make it out. So you guys are, for people who are listening who are local, this is happening in Kelowna?
Kelowna, so in Vadi Yoga. It's right near Capri Mall, just on Highway 97 there. We do it every second Sunday, but so this will be we're skipping. So we'll have this Sunday, and then December 18th will be the next one because I'm going to Cancun, Joe Dispenza, for 10 days, so I missed
Yeah.
2 Sundays. So that'll be cool. But yeah, we have a little bit of a gap there between the sessions, but yeah.
Nice, man. Awesome, dude. Well, this was so fun. I appreciate you coming on. It's that hour flew by. And you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
have to. I'm gonna have to have you on again too, so we can dive into some of this Joe Dispenza stuff because I'd love to hear about how that went for you.
Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, that's gonna be an amazing week, man.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for you. Yeah, so
100%,
I'll
man. I'm looking
link.
forward to it. It's,
Awesome. I'll link the mushroom website and the breathwork for anyone who's local and can come check you guys out at the market or come down to the breathwork and connect through the community. Feel free to come through the mindful community too, and I'll point you the right directions for everyone local. I think the community is building and growing here, and people connecting. It's just so powerful. So, yeah, man. Anything
yeah.
to leave us off with?
Yeah, I think that was great, man. Honestly, appreciate you having me, and yeah, hopefully people resonate with this, and yeah, it's all about connection now, man. Building that community because what we've seen over the last 2 years is division, and we can create community. We don't need to be listening to the government bullshit, and it's time for us to come together, and yeah, together we're powerful. Together we're one, So
Oh, I love it, man. That's
just bring
beautiful.
us back to that.
What a great way to end it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Check out for anyone want to check out the mindfulmeds.io. We got the GOO code, GOO15 for 15% off. And we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Awesome.